Hey everybody, welcome back to The Practice, that time where we meet together during the week with our identity groups so that we can try to put into practice those things we're talking about on Sunday.
Right.
So hopefully you're gathered with your group right now, or perhaps you're watching it in the morning so that when you get together with your group, you already know what you guys are going to talk about. That's what we're hoping for.
That's the hope.
But before we talk about Sunday,
Right.
we have to just remind ourselves where we are. This weekend, I think it's 50 brave souls.
Yeah,
50 brave souls are going to Fall Festival's family camp.
that's right.
The 3 F's.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun. I
It
can't
is.
wait. I cannot wait to hang out with all you guys. So play lots of games.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Looking forward to that.
And then the next thing that's on the calendar.
But also this Sunday, for everybody else who's not able to
Salt
go
Sunday.
to that, we're having small group services. It is our
Yes.
Salt Sunday, and so we want you to have a great time with your small group and make sure that you guys are having great discussions, really encouraging one another and living life together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So then after that, the next thing that's on the calendar is Sukkot.
Right.
So you come back to church, and on October 9th, we have Sukkot. I'm sure you're working on your booths
Right.
with your group.
Right.
Working on those group projects often brings out things in our character. Have you noticed this?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's true.
So I hope
That is true.
it's like on-the-job learning. Right?
There you go.
So you get to learn about each other. And that's it, really.
That regional service, guys, is going to be so much fun, and I really want to encourage you to be there. I know some people can't, but it's going to be a great day.
Oh,
The Sunday before that, October the 2nd, is also going to be super important. I'm going to be talking about some of the lessons that we see and how Jesus is the fulfillment of the Festival of Tabernacles, and some great connections that Jesus said, things that he said during that festival, and I'm really, really excited about that message. So I want you to come on October 2nd so you'll understand the framework for the celebration that we're having on October the 9th. So then everybody comes together on October the 9th, and we're really going to celebrate that. I think it's going to be a blast. I'm going to have a good time.
It is. It's going to be
You're
fun.
going to have a good time.
It's going to be fun.
We're going to have fun. We're trying some new songs. Our worship team is working on them, praying that we can get there to have some new celebration songs that we can sing. So that'll be fun too. So all that's going to be great. So, but with all that in mind, this is a special time.
Yeah.
And if you were not at church this past Sunday, I want you to go back and watch that message when you can, because we.
You could shorten it up by skipping through the teen section.
You see all the teens on stage. Just fast
Keep
forward.
fast forwarding.
Unless you need to laugh. If you want to see
It
me
is rather
in a
funny.
very difficult situation, go ahead and watch that. So it didn't work out exactly the way I thought it was going to work.
I think the point was made.
I think hopefully the point
The
was
grown-ups
made.
got it.
Yeah. But I want you to go back and watch that, because today we want to kind of talk on that and build on that a little bit. This was an introduction to this idea of the fall festivals and the lessons that we can learn from these fall festivals, from Rosh Hashanah, from Yom Kippur, and from Sukkot. And this time, these span of a few weeks here, there's some great spiritual lessons that we can get. Now, I did just want to say that, as we're talking about these things, this is not at all us saying, hey, here's some of these Jewish festivals that we need to now be celebrating, and there's something wrong with us if we're not celebrating them. Like, we're not trying to impose this on us as a church, saying this is what Christians should do, because we're absolutely not. You can even think about when Paul in Colossians was saying, hey, don't let anyone judge you by a festival or a special day or, all these other things. But he was saying, adherence to these festivals, the legalistic approach to you have to do it this way, that's not the point. And that's what we're saying right now too, is that that's not the point. What the point is that there are some great lessons that we can learn from observing these things. That's why God actually instituted them in the first place. Is because he didn't want us to miss these lessons. And there's great things for us to get. And even now, here we are 2,000 years later, this is a great time for us to be celebrating these things, because it's all been fulfilled. Everything that these ceremonies, these festivals were pointing to have been fulfilled in Jesus. And we get to see it all come together, and that should blow our minds, and we should be able to take these opportunities to go, oh, this is just so awesome and so
Exactly. Sometimes this does produce an argument sometimes of like, well, we shouldn't have to do that. We're Christians, we're not Jews. And I totally get that. The thing is, we're not trying to fight a battle to say, no, we should have to do that. We're saying we get to do these things.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. Whether we're whether we are forced to or commanded to keep the Sabbath, I'm going to keep it anyway, because you couldn't stop me, because it's such a blessing. I just feel like we're missing out on the gifts of these seasons if we don't partake of them and participate and kind of jump in.
Right, absolutely. So one of the things that we were talking about on Sunday is the idea that God gives us so many different ways for us to connect with some of these spiritual lessons, whether you're tasting it, seeing it, hearing it, those kind of things. And the reason is because these things are so deep, it goes beyond what words can adequately describe.
Words are not enough.
Words are not enough. And so God gives us some of these things to go beyond that. Something that I didn't get to really talk about was the idea that Yom Kippur is actually it is the only time, I think, that where God biblically mandated an annual fast.
Exactly.
Like, this is the day when the Israelites were supposed to fast, on this one day, which is kind of interesting. There were other fasts that happened for different reasons, and you got Esther and you get Daniel and those guys doing that fast. But this is the one where God said, I want the Israelites on this one day, I want everybody to fast. So now if you can imagine that this is also the day when there's all these sacrifices going on at the temple. And so all day you're smelling cooking meat, right? You're smelling this. You know what food smells like when you're really hungry. And so this day, and they didn't fast just like, okay, well, maybe I won't eat meat, but I'll go to Jamba Juice and get a smoothie. Yeah. It was no food, no water, no lotions, no sexual relations. Like, it was like, we are going to completely stop everything that we're doing so that we can focus ourselves on what God wants us to get and what he wants us to learn. And so you're going through this whole day of fasting while there's all the sacrifice going on. And then that was the day where they sent out the scapegoat with all the sins of the people. Mm-hmm. And then after that, then comes the feast. Mm-hmm. And so that is what leads us up to that the Festival of Tabernacles, the huge party where everything was happening and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. And so that, that idea, that concept that we're taking time to physically stop doing something, mm-hmm. so that we can focus ourselves spiritually and be aware of the lessons that God is trying to teach us. And that's, we started these quiet times on Sunday. And in the first one on Sunday, we even talked about how Daniel, we do a little throwback to Daniel, but Daniel did this 21-day fast. Mm-hmm. And so we encouraged all of us to take this moment to go, okay, what can I give up for these 21 days? Right. What can I take out of my normal routine or my normal schedule so that it will help focus me spiritually during this time? Exactly. So I really want to encourage you not to just kind of blow past that. Now, some of you may be of the personality type where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a perfectionist and they told me I got to do this. Now I have to do this. I have to add this on top of it and everything.
I'm overwhelmed.
And you can really get overwhelmed, and then you get angry at us. So
just stop right now. My sisters. I feel like these are my people. Stop right now. Take it down a notch.
Take it down a notch. And just think about, okay, is there something that I can change? However, I think there's others of us that kind of, skimmed through that quiet time. Oh yeah, give something, whatever. And now you're moving on with your daily life and you haven't even considered, is this something that I could do?
Exactly.
So whether you're on either side of that scale, I want you to stop and really consider this. Like, what can you do for the next 21 days to bring yourself into line with what God wants you to do?
Right. Yeah, I think something that has been hitting me about that Yom Kippur is that God says, I want you to fast on this day. You must deny yourself. Mm-hmm. That's the actual words that he says. You must deny yourself. And so you can picture them, they're as hungry as they've ever been, right? Mm-hmm. And they're smelling this meat and they're hearing the trumpets mm-hmm. all day long. And you put yourself in that position to where you're actually, it's like he on purpose said, you're going to feel extra hungry. Mm-hmm. And because he wanted them to have a full body experience. Mm-hmm. He wanted it to be a whole body thing, a holistic approach, right? So I think that has informed me a lot as I've thought about these 21 days. Because of course I'm the extreme person, mm-hmm. I'd be like, I'm not gonna eat any food for 21 days, whatever. That would be something I would do, okay?
It would.
So I have to dial it down. But I think I also had this feeling though, but Tracy, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always got. And I really feel the need for a spiritual wake up. I feel a need to have something change. I just want to see what God can do. Like, I don't want to just, go through this mechanically. I really want God to be able to do something. So I just thought of something that I've become dependent on lately, which I don't know how this happened, but I started getting really dependent on TV. I don't have real TV, but whatever. Netflix to, I fall asleep. I even have these shows called my sleeping shows.
Right.
So I take a nap, I'm falling asleep to this show, or at night sometimes. And so I've kind of gotten dependent on that sound to kind of lull me to sleep. And I'm like, okay, so for the next 21 days, I'm not going to do that. So, and other than watching shows with our family, like the regular stuff, but for myself, just on my own, I'm not going to have that time. And I just want to see what God can do. How else, maybe I just fall asleep talking to God.
Right.
What could God do with me by giving up that? And it's kind of like an experiment. I love that. This is the lab. This is God's lab. That's what I think about when I think about these feast days, all these seasons, is like, when you're taking science in school and it's so boring. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, Viet. I'm so sorry for all you teachers that just got offended by what I just said. Okay, so
if you don't have one of these teachers.
Of course. It was just my teachers.
Right.
So I was always so bored with science, and I'm especially earth science. And then we would do an experiment. And of course, then I'm like, oh, cool.
Right. The lab is fun.
That's so fun. So that's what I feel like with these seasons. It's kind of like the lab.
No, I think that's good. I was thinking that, I've found myself as the day wears on and I start to get tired, like late at night, then not late, like from 9 o'clock on, as I'm winding down, I'm finding myself either I'm on, going on TikTok, because as a family, we send each other funny dog videos and cat videos on TikTok.
It's fun.
So I'll look through TikTok, or I've got some games that I play on my phone, or apparently I'm watching The Office reruns a lot because Phyllis is in my dreams, which is weird. So what I've decided is that for the next 21 days, 9 o'clock is my cutoff. No entertainment, no screens, no phone entertainment, none of that from 9 o'clock on. And I'm going to do other things to help me kind of emotionally, mentally, spiritually wind down to close out my day rather than doing that. So I'm going to do that for 21 days and see how that goes.
We got it.
So we want you to think about that too. Like, what is it that
what you gonna do?
What is it that you want to do? What can you do? What do you feel like God is calling you to do with that?
Yeah, pray about it.
As we think about the energy that we're putting into things, we've got our Sunday experience. Guys, I have to tell you, I'm so encouraged and inspired by the response of so many of you as we're putting together our children's ministry and getting that going. And now we're having to deal with all of the screenings and getting the schedule going, and we're working on the check-in and like all these things. But people's heart has been like, what can I do? How can I help? Honestly. Jumping in and working out problems together. There's a great sense of, there's not suspicion of each other, not criticalness of each other, but a team, like we're really working together on that. Our worship team is really growing, and we're meeting, every Thursday night for our rehearsals and talking about all these specific things that are becoming our DNA. And we're trying to grow in our, our preparation, in our evaluation, in our consecration of ourselves as we come to lead worship. So there's all these ways that we're growing, which is great. Our Sunday experience, while it can be really exciting, and there's so many good things going on though, I don't want that to be what defines our church life and our community life. What I really want to be what defines us is that we're becoming more like Jesus all the time. Yeah. And that when we talk about things, our conversations are going to be, what is God doing in my life? Right. And how am I growing to be more like Jesus? How is he helping me? What are the victories that God has helped me with this week? Yeah. So that we don't get, it can be very easy to get pulled into what are the events and what do I have to do, and getting me there, my kids there, or something like that. I don't want us to be event driven. I want us to be Jesus driven. Somebody even texted me the other day and was like, okay, so not in the South, but they were like, hey, I got a question for you. For those of us that have been disciples for 25 or 30 years, what does that look like? What should that look like? Because a lot of us are tired of just doing the same old thing. And my response was that what it looks like is that we're becoming more like Jesus all the time, that the fruits of the Spirit are more evident in our life, that we're more loving, more joyful, more patient, kinder, gentler, that these are the things that are happening. I said, if it becomes about church and church things, then we're missing the point as an older disciple. So for those of us that are older disciples, we're missing the point of it all as church and churchy stuff. It should be about our heart, and is Christ becoming more evident in the way that we live.
And that's what this fall gives us the chance to do.
Right.
It's a chance to press restart. It's a regathering. God knew that we would get scattered during the summer.
Right.
But he brings us back together in the fall. It's a chance for us to press restart, and we can renew if we allow ourselves to go full body into this experience.
Right. So thanks for watching. Thanks for doing the quiet times, not just reading them, but actually putting them into practice. Thanks for engaging with your group. And thank you for trusting Jesus enough to follow him every day.
Yeah.
So we love being a part of the South Orange County Church. And we love you guys, and we're really looking forward to a great fall together.